Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we are unpacking a seriously paradigm-shifting insight from Ian Slade. We're talking about what it really takes to guide a team in today's world. We're going to look at a total redefinition of leadership, basically ditching the exhausting cycle of constantly looking over people's shoulders and stepping into a space of genuine empowerment. Less control, more trust. So, let's just dive right in.
Are you leading or are you babysitting? I know, right? It's a pretty direct, maybe even slightly uncomfortable question, but it's the absolute perfect place for us to start our self-reflection today. I mean, it forces us to really pause and take a hard look at our own management styles. Are we genuinely guiding our people toward a shared vision, or have we kind of accidentally become highly paid hall monitors? Recognizing the difference here is the very first step to unlocking some serious potential in your team.
Section 1. The micromanagement trap. Let's diagnose the problem.
Okay, think about this for a second. If your team only works when you're watching, just imagine the sheer exhaustion of that setup. If productivity just hits a brick wall the very second you step out of the room or log off your chat apps, what's actually going on there? It is so incredibly easy to just blame the employees, right? To say they just don't have a good work ethic. But Ian Slade's insights point us in a totally different direction. They highlight that a team needing constant surveillance isn't really an employee failure at all. Actually, scratch that. It's a critical failure in the leadership model itself. If the whole structure relies entirely on you physically or digitally being there to function, that's not a sustainable machine. That is literally a trap.
And that brings us right to the concept of babysitting. In a workplace context, this is basically the act of constantly watching over your team to make sure the work gets done rather than empowering them to succeed independently. True leadership is fundamentally and entirely different from just monitoring output. When you're stuck babysitting, your main tool is just your own gaze. You literally become the bottleneck for your own team. You're spending all your precious energy making sure people aren't messing up instead of equipping them with the tools and the autonomy to go do something incredible.
Moving on to Section 2, Control versus Trust. Let's look at culture and outputs. So, when we really examine control, what does it actually produce? Well, it creates fear. When people feel controlled, they're terrified of making mistakes. They're scared to step out of line, and they definitely won't innovate because, innovation inherently requires taking risks. But when we flip the script and pivot to trust, the output is completely different. It inspires greatness. Trust acts like this massive multiplier. It completely removes the ceiling. It shifts the whole vibe of the team from playing defense, just trying not to get in trouble, to playing offense, where the team actively wants to create something remarkable. I really want to pause here for a second and just let this sink in. Control creates fear, but trust inspires greatness. The psychological weight that these two different approaches carry in the office is just immense. As a leader, you are constantly making a choice. You're either generating a culture of anxiety or a culture of inspiration, and there is no middle ground. You absolutely cannot have both. That tight grip of control might give you a fleeting illusion of safety, but I promise you it is actively suffocating the exact greatness you want from your team.
Section 3. The Catalyst for Growth. Let's talk about the solution.
When you trust your team, magic happens. Now, magic is a kind of funny word to use in a business context, isn't it? But it honestly hits the nail on the head here. It perfectly sets up this idea that trust is the hidden transformational ingredient. It's the one variable you can't necessarily track on a spreadsheet, but the second you introduce it into a team environment, it unlocks a level of true potential that feels light years ahead of the sluggish, heavy pace of a micromanaged team.
So, what does this magic look like in the real world? Well, it's basically a structural chain reaction of undeniable business growth. Step 1. People grow. Without the crushing weight of fear holding them down, your people start stretching their skills, taking real ownership, and developing professionally. And because they're growing, we naturally hit Step 2. Ideas flow. When someone feels empowered and safe, they share fresh perspectives without worrying they'll be immediately shut down. And when you have an environment packed with growing people sharing flowing ideas, you inevitably hit Step 3. Results explode. It's a direct, undeniable sequence. Trust isn't just about giving everyone warm fuzzies. It's the actual spark that ignites this entire chain reaction.
So loosen that grip. It's such a visceral physical metaphor, isn't it? Think about what a tight physical grip does. It chokes. It cuts off circulation. It completely stops movement. This is a direct challenge to anyone leading a team right now to actively and intentionally let go of those deeply ingrained micromanagement habits. You literally have to consciously uncurl your fingers from the tiny day-to-day details of your team's operations if you ever want them to step up and truly perform.
Section 4. How best leaders win. Let's look at the strategic advantage.
The core message here is super simple. Empower your people and watch them shine.
As a leader, your job description isn't to be the smartest person or the brightest star in the room. Your main role is to build and maintain the platform of empowerment for your team. You set the stage, you hand over the resources, you offer your trust, and then, and this is absolutely crucial, you step back. You step back so your team can step forward, perform, and shine completely on their own merits. And when they shine, the whole organization levels up.
Ultimately, why does trust actually win? Well, first off, it isn't just about being nicer. This isn't about being everyone's best buddy. Secondly, it actively replaces the paralyzing force of fear with a propelling force of inspiration. And third, because of those two facts, it is the defining strategy of top leaders. Trust is a real game changer. It is the ultimate strategic advantage for the absolute best leaders in the world simply because it's the most efficient way to scale excellence across a whole group of human beings.
Which leaves us with this final, highly provocative question. Are you ready to lead with trust? Are you ready to stop babysitting, finally loosen that grip, and kick off that incredible chain reaction of growth, flowing ideas, and exploding results? I want you to really reflect on your immediate next steps as a leader after this. The magic is right there, just waiting for you to unlock it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. Until next time, keep empowering and keep shining.